I'm trying something else here. I'm trying something new. I'm standing up. This feels kind of weird, but I don't know. I feel like
so many aerobics in here, so many activities.
Yeah, I don't really know how else to explain this movie. The definition of okay. Satisfactory, but not exceptionally or especially good. Anyway, honestly, I wasn't gonna see Eternals in the theaters. I was gonna wait for it to come out on Disney+. But I had a buddy of mine who wanted to go to the theaters with me and go see it. But the movie itself, I mean, I don't know, I feel like the trailer did its job. It portrayed it correctly. I think the only thing that I found really interesting when I watched it was the lore. Yeah, you know, we had the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy where like nobody knew who these guys were and we were kind of just thrown into this mix. But the nice thing about Guardians was that it blew everybody out of the water and it was a fantastic movie, while also exploring a deeper Marvel universe. And while I think Eternals did the same thing, it just didn't quite stick the landing. You know, as I was watching it, I was partly thinking like maybe it's because most of the Eternals is on Earth, but that could just be me. I think the most interesting thing about the Eternals is how they weaved the story in with everything that had already happened in the Marvel universe. There was a couple characters that kind of stood out, but everybody for the most part just kind of was flat. There was some good character development here or there, but again, I just can't put my finger on like what is the main problem with it. Maybe it's, I just didn't care about really any of the characters. Angelina Jolie's character surprised me because I don't like her as an actress, really. Her character I thought was quite interesting, especially towards the end. The character Druig was probably the most interesting character to me. I felt a strong connection with how I think and how I view things, that for whatever reason I was drawn to that character the most out of everybody. I will say this movie did one thing very well that a lot of movies nowadays have a hard time doing, and that's the women power kind of thing. That's a very poor choice of words to use for what I'm trying to explain, but I'm just going to use the women power stuff, like you know, a lot of things we find cringy, or that I find cringy at least, like when they tried to do Ghostbusters with an all-female cast and it was just cringe. The Eternals, it all made sense. It made complete sense, and it served the story well when they put these women in very important situations and made them carry the story further. It made complete sense, it flowed well, and at times they had to come in and you know, finish the job and clutch up. The lore, see, that's the thing that like I just keep going back to, is the lore, because honestly, I wouldn't have seen this movie, nor would I want to even watch this movie again if it wasn't for that kind of like expanding this MCU, and the importance of like knowing this stuff so that way other stuff makes sense in these future films. And like, I see why critics gave this such a bad score. Again, I think maybe some were a little too harsh, but that's fine. But the lore seemed to be the most interesting thing to me. Everything about the Celestials and learning about them, and then learning about, I'm trying not to say too much without giving it all away, but I'll just stick with that then though. Learning about the Celestials and just expanding the Marvel Universe as we know it right now in the MCU. You know, I heard a lot of like talk about how, you know, this movie has Marvel's first sex scene, and I'm just gonna bring it up because, well, it's Marvel's first sex scene. Yeah, it was like, you could tell. I don't know how else to say it, but you could tell. You know, if you listen to Filmmaker Mike and the Boys, you know my opinion on all like nudity and sex and stuff like that. And a lot of times, actually I still say this, 99% of the time, it does not serve the story, nor does it make sense to have it in there. And in the Eternals, there's no exception. It's the same. It was just a waste of time and it was unnecessary. I thought it was just, I see why they did it. I understand how it served the story more, but I still think it was unneeded, but that's, you know, I didn't make the movie, so oh well. I felt like with what they did there, trying to make you care about the characters, could have easily been done if that was just, it would have had the same exact effect if that was just removed. Like, I don't see how that added anything, really. I understand how people could see it that way, but in my eyes, it just makes no sense. There's a character in this movie that has the power of speed, but how they did the speedster effects in this movie was actually quite refreshing. As little as we got of it, it was nice. Like, I actually liked those effects quite a bit. I almost want more of that in future speedster films. Like, I'm good with the slow-mo, but to show everything at a fast pace was really good, and it was really well done, and I hope that we get to see more of that in the future. If you do decide to see this movie in the theaters or at all, I recommend that you stay obviously to the end of the credits, because there are 2 end credit scenes. One of them, there's a character that comes in, and the person that's playing this character, I'm not a huge fan of. He did a great job in another movie I saw, a war film that I saw, but I just don't like him as an actor. He doesn't do a bad job, but I just don't like him as an actor. Now, Kit Harington's character, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing more. Honestly, I think out of everything that I take away from this movie, that's what I'm drawn to. If we didn't get another Eternals, I would be completely fine. But I don't know, I don't know if this is just me, but my pop was saying the same thing that I was thinking. And he was just saying, the excitement for Marvel has dwindled away after Endgame, and anything that just kind of comes out after that is just a whatever, And I've been trying to pinpoint the feeling that I've gotten from these movies and these shows coming out and everything that they're trying to go for another phase and all that stuff. And like, while I'm thankful for this content, and I do enjoy some of it, I think I'm kind of done. Like, I think I'm done with Marvel. Like, if they stopped right now, or if they stopped right after Endgame, that would have been good. Like, I would have been completely satisfied as a fan, but I just feel like it's just fading away. Maybe Scorsese was right, I don't know. I think that'll do it for my review today on Eternals. If you can see it in the theaters real cheap, then I'm like all for you going to the theaters to check out this movie. Kind of got to support the theaters as best we can right now, because I don't think they will be lasting much longer. Talk to you guys later.